What in the wide, wide world of sports did I just watch? Dude, okay, me and Andrew Tucker World, we just went live. Check the intro we did. It was kind of hype, y'all. But we just went live for the Yard Baturbia fight. First of all, let's deal with that undercard. There was a guy, a heavyweight, he was having his debut fight. I heard he wants to beat Mike Tyson's record and becoming the youngest heavyweight champion or something like that. Anyway, you could tell the fight was suspect, and I couldn't tell till I saw the replay. He hit the dude like fight barely started. We weren't even, I don't think, 40 seconds into the fight. He hit this dude, and you could see the guy's gloves caught it, and the dude gets up wobbled, and I guess he thought he didn't put on enough of an act for the ref to stop it. So then he did his best Oscar performance again, and the ref waved it off. I was like, man, that fight was, you could tell that was suspect. Man, it was already like WWE because they brought in Tommy Fury and Jake Paul, and they were announcing their fight February 26th. They were going back and forth. I thought that was interesting, but it had that WWE feel to it. But so did that fight because you could tell it was already planned who was going to win that fight allegedly. But let's get to Yard and Baturbiev. Now it started off. Baturbiev was kind of taking it to Yard, and Yard seemed kind of jittery. He was coming in, not really landing the harder punches. But Turbiev kept getting him into the corner and getting him on the ropes where he shouldn't have been. But Yard showed his strength, and then he started to come on in the later rounds, and he hit Baturbiev with the right that kind of shook him up, and he started getting on his bicycle and running. So I was like, okay, Yard's kind of turning this around. But then, I don't know if Baturbiev was trying to set him up. He would get in the corner, I guess trying to make Yard think he was hurt, and then he'd start unloading. And then he caught Yard in the eighth, knocked him down, and Yard stayed down there for a while, gathered his wits about him, stood up, and then the Turbiev comes at him, connects a little bit, lands an overhand right, and wobbles or a hook something, and wobbles. I wouldn't even say wobbled; he was just kind of off balance because he got hit. And the referee steps in and grabs Yard, and Yard's looking at the ref like, "What you doing?" And the ref's like looking like, "I didn't stop it. Look at your corner." And it looked like Yard's corner stopped the fight. That was terrible. I mean, and I don't want to hear he was about to knock him out anyway. Yard was not that hurt. I mean, immediately after he walked over, looked like to congratulate Baturbiev, and he had some pep in his step. He was all right, dude. I've seen fights go way past that, and everybody's all right. For a guy to train that hard and that long to dedicate himself to his sport, and then to have your own corner stop it. This wasn't a Wilder Fury situation where he was getting his head handed to him and you knew it was an appropriate stoppage. This was nothing like that. Yard was starting to come on, and he got caught. But you can't stop it in that situation. I'd have had a long talk with the dude that stopped it. He was talking to Yard in the corner. Yard just looking like, man, please. I would have a long talk with that dude or a short talk in the dressing room, and he wouldn't be working for me for the next fight. I can guarantee that. That was terrible. Sometimes you can probably have somebody in your corner that's rooting against you. Who knows? You never know if some of these guys have. I'm not saying this guy, but I'm saying, for instance, you could have somebody in your corner that placed a bet against you, and so the first time you get in trouble, he's gonna wave it off so he can waive his bet. I don't know. I just know that was a terrible stoppage. I'm not accusing that guy of that, but I'm saying it can happen. But it was a weak stoppage. Yard should have been able to go out on his shield. It's not like Wilder Fury. Nah, not at all. He didn't get knocked down a bunch of times and, blood coming from his ear, nothing like that. In fact, Berterbiev's face was more scarred up than his. He had like a little swelling, but it's like he found his range, he found his pace. He was pity patting a lot before, but then, like I said, that right seemed to get Berterbiev's attention. Oh my goodness, dude. Me and Andrew were just going off about it. He had to step out for a while we are doing live. So I did the call for that fight, and he was on the road at the time, but I can't wait for him to see that stoppage. we're pretty livid at that. And I already see somebody posting that Yard gets knocked out. Yard didn't get knocked out. That was a political stoppage, it appears. It looks like they want Beterbiev to fight Bivol. So I doubt if Yard will even get a rematch, but they need to run that back, that's for sure. Yard, he has nothing to be ashamed about. I'm not mad at Beterbiev. You know, he did what he was supposed to do. It's not his fault. But the political people behind the scenes, that's who I'm calling out. You know, this ain't WWE. Speaking of WWE, I thought it was a funny little exchange between Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury told Jake, I knocked out better fighters than you when I was 14. And he said something about him being on Disney. And Jake Paul said, well, you're going to get beat by a Disney fighter or something, and your family's going to disown you. He said, I like you, Tyson Fury, but he's claiming he's going to stop Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury said Jake's not going to want to fight after this. I hope it actually happens this time. It was supposed to happen before and it didn't. Then Jake was supposed to fight Hasim Rockman Jr. That didn't happen. And Hasim Rockman Jr. ended up fighting that dude from the Dallas Cowboys and lost that. So I think this will be Tommy Fury's best matchup. He's fighting a real fighter who's at 8 fights, 4 knockouts. I think Jake Paul's 6 wins, 4 knockouts. But I think Tommy Fury is going to win this. And I don't know. That just left a bad taste in my mouth. I'm still trying to deal with the Chargers' loss when they were winning 33 points against the Jags and lost. Then I have to deal with Yard getting cheated in his moment. You know, it's crazy. Um, I've seen bad stoppages, but why can't we just have a legitimate sport? Why do we gotta have shadiness? Why? Why? Just let the guys fight. Whoever wins, wins, and then you can run it back or whatever you do. But don't cheat somebody. You spend 8 weeks or however long in training camp and you want to be treated fairly. I want to see the press conference to hear what Yard has to say, but anybody talking about like Yard would have got stopped, nah, you don't know that. You gotta give them the benefit of the doubt in a championship fight, you know. Anyway, it's the J Roos Theory, LSR forever, the reason I do this. Make sure to go subscribe to Andrew Tucker World and be fearless. Hold your head up, Anthony Yard. And shout out to Bivol for fighting a great fight, showing your toughness. Nothing against you. You did your thing. But you need to run that back.